what I've found is that it's very important not to go in preconceived notions because the language here is different than what it usually is. So if you just skim along and you read like normal, or you just have in your mind like normal, you're no longer reading the words. It's like you're reading from memory. Okay. So in every idea, there are extra things that have to accompany it to explain it. These are not achorayim. They're not the essential point. Maybe the point wouldn't be able to be conveyed without them, but they're necessary. Heat pashtud hasecha ba'oto hadavarim liyamin usmol. So he said the important thing is up and down, mala mata, but there is also an extension to the left and right, or right and left. Yamin is right, small is left. There are things that the listener will add or perhaps will misunderstand or extend from this central point. And they will say, oh, I really like that idea. It's one way of understanding this. So the Nakuda is Chasadim Shal Nakuda Shebekeda. Mashish Bedevarim Al Yadam Yachol Ishmol Lintot. And Nakuda L'derech Zar, the Yaksha Kushiot, the opposite of Kedem, the west. So small, left. Shmi representing Gevura, Shmit Pashat Gamken Me'emtzi Nakuda HaMizrach. So this would be extending from this point in the Mizrach. L'bechina Gevura, the Ha'alamut. So, difficulty and hiddenness. The dilated, we don't have to explain more for now. That's what he said. Ach b'chol yaminu small. So in this right and left dichotomy, Chesed and Gevura, Geshmakablin Ne'em Tza'it HaMizrach. When you go from the middle, this point that starts in the east, Hu Hanikra Bechinat His Pashtut HaRochav Miyamin Lismol. So you get Rochav. Rochav is this journey from east to west. Aval mitachil nase ha'orech levad. I believe I got it wrong. Rochav is Yaminu small from this middle point, but at the beginning of this traveling, you just have orech. While mitachil nase orech levad, it's only a line. And what dimension is this line extending in? The Hu Mizrach Umarav. The essential line is from east to west, levad, Vidalamaving. So we started by saying the important thing is up and down, mala mata. And we said we can view, after we've got that essential point, we can say first there is an extension, Mizrach and Marav, east to west. And then as part of that extension, that line can develop into a 2D plane as it extends, in the metaphor we would say, towards the Chasadim and towards the Gevurot, north and south. That can be added in after we have the east and west. Nimsa muvan shikar haklali hu hadchalat shefa sechel sheinu adayin bechlal sipur devarim bekedem ve'achor. So it starts off with east and west. V'sof hashefa sechel hu b'china mata. So the end point is down. Yatsa gamken ke'echad im b'china mala, so up. Shehu hadchalat hashefa, that's where the real beginnings. Mata, down. Hu klos hashefa la'achar shnipashel arba sitrin. So you have this up and down. You start up. There's this extension to 4 directions, which are in 2 dimensions, and then it comes down to this essential point at the end, the mata. Kodem kalotam legamre. So kalot legamre, it's like things come to a point. Ainu kamochni paset hasaga bimikabel haSaken. It's just like when you explain something to someone, they end up understanding in their mind the point. Zehaya b'mashpia kodem hitchaluta shlohayadayin arba sitrin. So when the idea existed in the mind of the explainer, it hadn't yet extended in these 4 directions, north, south, east, west, or east, west, north, south, you might say. And after the idea is received by the understander, also those directions are gone. But it had to go through that process. The nimtzashin malo mata, the up and down, einam bichlal hi pashut be'orach klal. So length and width, totally, which are north, north, south, east, west, those things have nothing to do with up and down. It's like you draw a line up and down, that is malamata. So it gains orech, extent, east and west. The acharkach, in another direction, l'rochav yamin u'smol. Shehut safon v'darom. That's how it works. So, kamo shehu hashpat sechel kenhu b'shisha kavod yashmi. So we used the pattern of the mind, how ideas work. Now we're going to explain this is how directionality works in the physical world, the Gashmi world. Mizrach u'ma, east and west, nivru min hamala mata. East and west were created from the idea or the dimension of up and down. They're an extension of that. Mikrim achor v'kedem. Back and front are called, those are the names for east and west. Kedem being Mizrach. V'charkach nimshach liyamin u'smol v'rochav. So then the east and west extended, became north and south. So even though down, let's say the 6th direction, the final direction is the earth itself. The earth is included in the beginning. Could flip it around, so the beginning is included in the end. So this is what he's saying. He's saying the way it works is first you get the spiritual unity, and then perhaps along with that, or the next thing to do is to then do the very, very earthy unity of Hashem for the Kriyat Shema. And then the idea extends to these 4 directions. This is the Gemara in Barachot about how to do Kriyat Shema. Shenizkar Shamayim va'aretz techila. Heaven and earth, so far away from one another. Why are they together? Shehu mala and mata. Heaven is mala, it's up above. Earth, aretz, that's mata, it's way down below. V'acharkach li pashtut orach v'rocha. And then you have this extension, left, right, up, down, not up, down, left, right, north, south, east, west. Shehu, the Arba Ruchad Olam, the 4 cardinal directions. Ikar ha'olam hu malo mata. But the most important thing, more fundamental, important might be the wrong word, the most fundamental thing is malo mata, up and down, Shemayim va'aretz. Oh, and then additionally, then you have these Arba Ruchad, the 4 cardinal directions. Ini tamichuhu yudua, these 6 directions, which, let's say you're shaking a lulav, you shake them in the 6 directions, up, down, left, right, front, back. So Shorash Rasham B'chinat Tzilut Shehu the Shisha Ketzav Tzilut Makor Demakor the Shisha Ketzav Hagashmim Kiyadua. Ultimately, the fact that physical reality has these characteristics: up, down, left, right, front, back, the 6 faces of the cube. This is because spiritual reality has that as well. Let's say the physical world is a reflection of the spiritual reality. So, yeah, that's pretty much how this works. Adam de Atzilut. There is a creation in the spiritual realm called Adam in the world of Atzilut. It was created with this, Achor and Kedem, west and east, which tells us, once you have west and east, you also have a north and a south. Shehu, the Arba Ruchot, that gets you the 4 cardinal directions as well. So creation is up and down, and then it can be expanded to 4 additional directions. So in Atzilut, the 4 directions Elayid, which is, so look, ever since Rambam, Maimonides, it's very difficult to talk about any physical characteristics of any spiritual reality, anything related to God. It's supposed to be pure apophatic, negative theology. So we're distinguishing between up and down in our world, up and down in this spiritual world that we use to talk about God or godliness. But it's not meant to be literal. And if you take it literal, you have several problems. So it's better not to.